Anyway, we're going to turn this back over to Heather Scott. She wants to introduce our next special speaker. So Heather, the mic is yours.
You know, us politicians, we can never let a mic go. So when I saw Greg as the next speaker, I just wanted to share. I met him the very first year I went to Boise. I was like, who is this guy? And he said, hey, will you run a gun bill? And I said, I'd be happy to. And I did not realize the mess I walked into, because every person in Boise and everyone in that Capitol is terrified of this guy. And they should be, because he is down there fighting for your gun rights. And any legislator that votes against a gun bill, they're gone the next year. He activates his team, and it's unbelievable how many committee chairmen and legislators that just vote wrong one time. That's all it takes. Compromise once and you're done, right? And the red flag bills that we keep getting, and I don't know what he's talking about, but I bet he'll mention them, every year, and every year they almost get the votes to pass. And he goes out and goes after these legislators. They're terrified of him. He's an unbelievable fighter for your Second Amendment rights, and a good friend of mine, Greg Pruett.
All right, well, I hope the camera is willing to move, because I'm a walker, so. I don't know about you guys, but I'm enjoying the liberal tears that have been flowing down from the clouds of Coeur d'Alene today. Reclaim Idaho and all these folks thought that this was going to get rained out, and I think they were wrong. So, first of all, I really appreciate Representative Heather Scott. A big round of applause for her. So when I started the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance in 2012, I was a frustrated Idahoan, just like many of you. I got tired of hearing Republicans go on the campaign trail and talk about how much they love the Second Amendment, right? You all just heard it during the primary, right? Didn't matter which Republican or Democrat it was, for that matter, they all loved the Second Amendment. And I thought, okay, it's Idaho, that makes sense. But we didn't have constitutional carry, which is your right to carry without a permit from the government. Yeah. And so that's why we actually started the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. I don't know if you guys know that, because 4 other states had it at the time. And I said, okay, I'm going to go in the Capitol, and I'll do what my teachers in high school taught me to do on how to pass a bill. I tried to work within the system. How well do you think that worked out for me? Not so good, not so good. And then we learned a new way of fighting. So rather than me going down to the Capitol and lobbying these people, I use you. You're the lobbyist, right? And that's how it should be. But if you go down to the Capitol, into the swamp, you'll find out very quickly there are very big, high-paid lobbyists that wine and dine and throw cash at these legislators, okay? I just want to go up. That's what you're competing against. But guess what? Those lobbyists don't get a vote in your elections, right? And so what we do is we use the power of the grassroots, which is the best power, which is the ultimate power. It is the power that the left is very, very good at. And our side, quite frankly, is not good at. We do not use the grassroots nearly enough. We don't organize nearly enough. And so that's what we started doing. And in 2016, after 4 years, we finally got constitutional carry passed. Okay? No longer need permission from the government in Idaho to exercise your Second Amendment. We've now since expanded that twice. On July 1st of this year, anybody in the United States will be able to come to Idaho and not need permission from our government to defend themselves. We're one of the best pro-Second Amendment states in the country. I would say right now, honestly, we are the best, right? We have the best gun owners by far, and it's not even close. But there's work to be done. And here's the thing. I'm going to tell you that the left, Reclaim Idaho and these other groups, they are not the biggest problem in Idaho right now. You know who the biggest problem in Idaho is? Moderate Republicans who tell you that all is well in Idaho. That is our biggest problem. Because guess what? I hear it all the time. Oh, Greg, you're just fear-mongering. Everything's fine. Nobody's ever going to pass a red flag law in Idaho. They're never going to do this. Nobody's coming for your guns. I'm not here, we hear that from the left, but we hear that from a lot of moderate Republicans. You know who else said that? The people in Oregon, the people in Washington, the people in California, the people in Virginia, the people in Colorado, right? They got complacent. Somebody up here mentioned earlier, complacency. And they've lost their states, little by little. Because it's easy to see the progressives coming, right? They really don't hide it. They come right at you. It's the moderate Republicans who sit back and say, everything's fine. Idaho's as red as can be. The state of Colorado. If you've never seen a movie called The Rocky Mountain Heist, go watch it. The state of Colorado had a Republican governor, 2 Republican U.S. senators, both chambers of their state house were controlled by Republicans, and most of their congressmen were Republicans. And in 10 years, 4 billionaires came in, wiped it all out. And now look at Colorado. That's a very red state, honestly, outside of the suburbs. What's happening in Boise right now? They got rid of Dave Beater. I don't know if you guys pay attention down in the Treasure Valley politics. They got rid of Dave Beater, who was an awful, horrible mayor. And now they got a lady who was openly pro-Planned Parenthood, openly anti-gun, and she's running all sorts of socialist programs, or wants to, in Boise. Boise will be Seattle. Boise will be Portland. And it's only a matter of time before that whole Treasure Valley area is controlling the entire state. Okay? So I'm going to talk about something a little bit different than just the Second Amendment. If you guys knew what it was like to go into the Capitol and talk to these people, other than feeling like you need a shower after, I'm not really sure what that means, but I'm a married man, I'm just saying. So, folks, there's something you have to understand with politics, and this is what a lot of conservatives do not understand, and you don't want to because it's uncomfortable. It's something I call political human nature. When these politicians get elected, outside of some present company, okay, I don't know where Heather is, but she's excluded from this. There are very few politicians at any level, she talked about all levels of government. When they get elected, what is the one thing that they care about the most? Money. Getting reelected, right? It's so much more than that. Because mentally, yes, right, they get elected, they went through a lot of work. Campaigning is a lot of work. They don't want to lose the next time. In the Capitol in particular, you guys have no idea what is happening the second you cast that vote. Most people go back to living their life until 2 years down the road. You might pay attention here and there to some of the bills. Hopefully you're following the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance and helping us out. But you go back to not caring. Big mistake. Because the second those legislators, especially the new ones, right when they get into the Capitol, guess what's happening to them? Am I cutting out on my own here? Guess what's happening to them? Leadership comes up. Hey, new legislator, if you want to go anywhere in the Capitol, if you want a committee chairmanship someday, if you want to get your bills passed, we're going to help you do that. Okay? When the Speaker of the House or anybody in the leadership team is telling you that as a new legislator, are you going to go against that? No, they won't do it. Except for Heather Scott, Christy Zitto, and other legislators like that. Okay? So, on top of that, they've got a whole bunch of very wealthy lobbyists saying, hey, you help pass this bill. guess what? Campaign time. We've got a $10,000 check coming your way. Okay? And meanwhile, they're all the way in Boise, and you're all the way up here, ignoring what they are doing on a daily basis. They're not feeling the pressure from you to keep doing the right thing. Because finding people like Heather Scott and Christy Zitto and the rest of the Liberty legislators is very difficult to do. I've seen very, very good people get into the Capitol and turn within a couple weeks. Why? Because there was seasoned politicians who are daily urging them to do what they want to do. Not what you want to do, what they want to do. And so that political human nature kicks in. They say, well, crap, in 2 years, I would love to be a chairman. You know, if I can be a chairman, my people will love me more. Right? They don't want to butt heads with their own leadership. They don't want to butt heads with the lobbyists. They're afraid of the lobbyists. And so you have to create something that they will never admit to. Every single one of them, again, outside of a few, will tell you what I'm going to tell you next is a lie. Fear is the greatest motivator. And I'm talking about political fear for the media watching. Okay? If they do not fear losing their jobs from you, they don't care.
That's right.
They don't care.
Say it again, brother.
So here's the deal. How many of you have liberal family members or friends? Okay?
I already disowned them.
You disowned them, that's good. Okay? If you have liberal family members or friends, why haven't you changed them into conservatives? Okay? They're stubborn. They threw you away, right? So if you can't change your own family and friends to be conservatives, what chance in hell do you have of convincing a power-hungry politician with all of the money? None. You have no chance. Unless you create enough fear in them that they will lose their jobs. Because remember, that's what they care about. They care about keeping their jobs. So if you can't convince them otherwise, they will not vote the right way a lot of the time. Okay? That's huge. If you do not grasp that concept, we will never keep Idaho the way that it is. We have to keep Idaho red. Right? Anybody disagree with that? We have to keep Idaho red. Well, we keep Idaho red by, number one, understanding what political human nature is and how to keep good legislators in line. Hopefully you can get a legislator who is willing to buck their party leadership, who is willing to stand up and go, you know what, I can't tell you how many times. So we generally work with Representative Christy Zitto on our gun bills. She's, like wee tall, but a little badger. I mean, she's a fighter. And I can't tell you how many times she's called me up and said, I'm going to do this, and I really don't care what happens, right? We would hope that all of our legislators are like that. Okay? Heather mentioned something. She mentioned local politics. Conservatives are awful at this. Guys, we have to change. You want to keep Idaho red? Sure, you can pay attention to the presidential election, that's fine. But the reason we end up with people like the mayor of Sandpoint is because conservatives don't care about city elections. They don't. By and large, they ignore it. City elections are the farm system for the left. Okay, everybody know what a baseball, right? Professional baseball, they have farm systems where they send pitchers and players to kind of test out to see how good they are. That's what the left does with city politics. And guess what? In the state of Idaho, you don't have to declare your party affiliation. The Democrats are openly admitting their state party chair. We have her on a video. We love city politics in Idaho because we don't have to declare our party affiliation. The state party chair ran in Caldwell, where I live, for city council. And you go through her Facebook profile and her campaign page, and guess what? All it says is love and community, and we want to keep Caldwell the great place. I mean, no specifics, just all generalities about how much she loves Caldwell. And maybe she does, that's fine. She also supports Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and every other socialist out there. She surveyed for the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance previously and didn't return it. We sent her a survey and she didn't return it. So you know what I did? I could have ignored city politics. We printed out 4-foot banners that said Beechler bad on guns. And we went and stood outside the one polling location for the runoff that they had with like 3 people on the corners, and we just stood out there all day. All day. Beechler bad on guns. It had a picture of an AR in there. It was fantastic. Okay? And she got crushed. We literally had people coming to us and saying, they were saying that I'm only here to vote because we got your flyer and we heard that she's bad on guns.
No, I'm good.
Heather's right. City politics, county politics. We don't ignore any of it. We're unapologetic. We don't compromise. We go out and we fight. Because that is one thing the left is very good at. They will fight and they don't give up. That second thing, that is something conservatives are terrible at. We have to get much better. People lose one freaking battle in politics and they're like, well, I gave it a go. I'm gonna go stick my head back in the sand, right? I could have quit very easily after 2013 and 2014 and 2015 when I kept getting run down the rabbit hole, the political rabbit hole for constitutional carry, but we didn't give up. We kept fighting, okay? Get involved in city politics. Understand who is really running. Now, I am working on an effort, and I actually have a petition on my website to require party affiliation in city elections. Okay? Anybody support that? Now I know the next thing that somebody is thinking is, well, won't the Democrats just put an R next to their name? Yes. Yes, they will. That's your goal as a voter, to better vet your candidates and what is happening at the local level. Okay? How else are we going to keep Idaho free? This one's unpopular with some of you. Get rid of ballot initiatives. Not restrict it more, abolish them. 100%. Because I can tell you right now, the left has figured it out. They are destroying Washington, they're destroying Oregon, and they're destroying California with ballot initiatives. The Democrats in California are getting tired of ballot initiatives. Okay? Because the left has found out very quickly it is a tool for direct democracy. Look what's happened in Idaho. Medicaid expansion. Nobody thought Medicaid expansion was possible in the state of Idaho. It passed. Right now, how many of you know that Reclaim Idaho is trying to, they sued Governor Little, which always sounds like a good thing, I know. Okay? They want to be able to gather signatures for ballot initiatives electronically. This method was just approved in Colorado, literally days ago. Okay, we are in trouble if they are able to do that electronically, because it won't be long before Michael Bloomberg comes in here and says, universal background checks, let's do a ballot initiative for it. Who does not know what universal background checks is? Okay, a few people. If I want to sell Representative Heather Scott a firearm, I can no longer do so unless we have permission from the government. Okay? Every transaction would go through the government. Selling or gifting or whatever a firearm. The left will put that out in the media as, we want to stop criminals from getting guns. Well, hell, who doesn't want to stop that, right? Okay? You see how these ballot initiatives, they will lie, cheat, and steal their way to victory. And afterward they'll go, well, sorry, that's not where we went, right? Ballot initiatives will be the death of Idaho in the long term. Because, yes, you can use a ballot initiative to do something good. You can. And for every one that we pass, they'll pass 10. And it will not outweigh it. I promise you. It will not outweigh it. Get involved in local politics. abolish ballot initiatives, party affiliation in local elections. Second Amendment. We watch all the time all these other states and what is happening with the Second Amendment. What is the left doing? And this is one thing conservatives have to be much better at. And our group does this all the time. We are always watching our enemies. We're always testing. We're friends with groups in 13, 14 other states across the country. And we're always testing stuff. What works, what doesn't work. What is the left doing that we can mirror and use against them? Okay? You have to do that. So what we're thinking about doing, because abolishing ballot initiatives is an extremely difficult task, if not impossible, okay? So if we can't do that, what is the next best thing that we can do? Well, why not a constitutional amendment which basically prohibits all of the crap the left wants to do to the Second Amendment? Okay? Specifically prohibiting the possession or transfer of AR-15s, okay? Rifles, handguns. I mean, you just list it all in the Article 1, Section 11, write it all in there, and make it almost impossible to ever get out. Who would support that? Okay? Red flag laws. Oh, this stuff, I can't even tell you. We still have articles from Ammo Land from like 2 years ago when we crushed a potential red flag issue that's still floating around. It's fantastic. Red flag laws are very, very dangerous. Okay, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Because here's the thing with red flag laws, folks. Once they get their foot in the door, it's over. So the way that Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham, Republicans, okay, the way that they are billing this as, oh, we'll have all these protections in place for you, so the red flag laws don't hurt you. It only hurts the bad guys. No, that's not how it's going to happen. In California, understand this, in California they have now extended their red flag laws to include neighbors and coworkers. I don't know about you guys, but I've had problems with both sets of those people for my entire life, okay? That's a recipe for disaster, especially when you're the gun guy, right? So they have also, in California, expanded red flag laws up to 5 years. 5 years, so half of a decade, you lose your firearms without ever being convicted, arrested, or even charged. It's a slippery slope. Once they get their foot in the door, it's all downhill from there, okay? So maybe we can prohibit, much more specifically, red flag laws through a constitutional amendment, okay? That's the kind of stuff that we are looking at as an organization, and that me, outside of the work I do with the ISA, trying to do something different. Conservatives are terrible at adapting, and I know I'm bashing on conservatives because guess what? We're our own worst enemy. Because we get complacent, we don't want to change, we don't want to adapt, and we don't want to do the hard thing. Specifically, when it's your legislator. Do you ever notice how the congressional approval rating is like 10%? But they all get reelected most of the time? Why does that happen? Because you like your own legislators, right? It's not your legislators that are the problem, it's all the other ones. And that may be true for like Heather Scott, okay? Do you understand? Because it's hard, especially in a smaller state like Idaho, where I go up and I go, hey, you know what, you got elected, you're my friend. And then they go to Boise, they get corrupted, they start voting bad. What are the odds that I'm going to go up to someone I helped elect, who may even be a friend, or a neighbor that I know, and go, you know what, you're not doing the right thing. Sorry, not you. You know, are you going to do that? Most conservatives will not. Most conservatives will not do that. It is hard, because as Christians, we are taught to love everybody. But I can still love her as a child of God and just say, you're a terrible politician, right? I don't have any problems doing that anymore. I'm kind of used to it now. But for a lot of you, this is very, very uncomfortable. to think about, man, can I really go toe-to-toe with the legislator and say, you know what, you're not doing the job I elected you to do, I'm mad. Because guess what, they have a litany of excuses. Well, you don't understand what it's like in the Capitol. I'm the only one that I get you, I feel you. This just isn't the right time. We need to do this next year. You and your friends are the only ones talking about this issue. I've heard it all, time and time and time again. I don't care. I'm like, no, that doesn't add up. So we're gonna go down to your district, we're gonna pass literature all over the place, telling people what a dirtbag you are. Okay? And it's effective. Lots of chairmen of committees, and lots of other legislators are losing their jobs because they look at me and go, you know what, I don't care about you, I don't care about your survey, and I said, I don't care either. And I'm gonna let all your people know what you just said. Okay? Hold them accountable. If you don't hold them accountable, Chad Christensen had basically no money. Nobody really knew who he was. Tom Lurcher had been in office for 32 years. 32, and he actually bragged about it to me. I'm the longest serving legislator. Okay, George Washington would slap you, what do you want? 32 years, we went after him and exposed him to his voters and said, this is the guy blocking constitutional carry. And that night, he lost by about 150 votes to a no-name candidate. Okay? All about accountability. All about accountability. But we've done that time and time and time again. And Heather says they're afraid of me. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of you. Okay? They're afraid that if I go out and I say, this is the person blocking this or voting against this, they know what's coming. They know what's coming. And it makes me proud to work with you guys day in and day out at the Capitol, in Sandpoint. We've done stuff here in Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene used to have a stupid ordinance that was in violation of the law that said you couldn't have a gun within 1,000 feet of a parade. Okay? We worked on that issue. We have overturned now 80 ordinances or anti-gun signs in the state of Idaho in pretty much every county. If you want a group who is going to stand with you, who will not compromise like the NRA does, and that may be a shock to some of you, that the NRA is not who they claim to be, folks. At the national level, you may continue to support them or whatever, but the people on the ground in Idaho, the grassroots gun owners, we're the ones making a difference here, not the NRA. Because I'm not going to stab you in the back, I'm not going to go in a damn committee room and cut deals like the NRA does. Okay? We don't do that stuff. So if that's the type of group you like, join up with Idaho Second Amendment Alliance at joinisa.com. You guys can talk to me after. Lastly, I'm tired. My wife is tired. My family is tired. Those of you who are involved politically know how much effort it takes. One of the things that we determined after the election was we needed a much more balanced approach to the media. The media here in Idaho, honestly, it seems bad. I've been in places where it's much, much worse. But it's getting bad here. The big newspapers in the Boise area in particular are moving farther and farther to the left. And so me and a few others started something called Idaho Dispatch. And I know Casey, oh there it is. Casey is gonna hand around a box and it's just got our Facebook and all that kind of stuff on it. But we're writing articles to try and give a balanced view of some of the conservative issues that are happening in the state, because generally speaking, the media will never do that for us, okay? So please, make sure you guys get a card. Finally, guys, these Liberty legislators, Heather and Christy and the 7, 8, or 9 of them that there are, I hope you understand how lucky you are to live in the state of Idaho, number 1. Number 2, I hope you understand how insanely rare it is to have a situation that we have in Idaho right now. I've worked in Wisconsin, I work with guys in Georgia and Iowa and North Carolina and Ohio and Pennsylvania. They are lucky most of the time to have one Heather Scott. They'll tell you, I went to Wisconsin for a year and a half, a couple years ago, to help a new gun group. We had zero people on the inside that we could trust to do the right thing. And here in the Idaho House in particular, we're gonna have somewhere around 10 or 11. 10 or 11. So we are very blessed and very fortunate to have this liberty movement, which is getting really good people elected, okay? Get involved. I can't stress enough how much we need you guys to be involved. Not just in gun politics, but in defending Idaho in every way that we can. Thank you guys for all that you do for gun owners. Please join up with Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. Have a good night and God bless.